Okay, so let's now move on and take a look at subscriptions. So Octopus can be configured to set up a number of subscriptions to subscribe to events that are happening within Octopus. And this gives you a way of sort of proactively monitoring what's going on without having to sort of keep an eye on everything. It might be that you want to be alerted to deployments to a specific environment, maybe anytime there's a production deployment. It could be that you want to be notified anytime specific documents are updated, maybe a user's added or something like that. Or as Derek mentioned, it could be something surrounding certificate expiry and things like that. So these subscriptions, they can be configured to either send out an email, which would be maybe a digest of those events. It could be every hour, every day, maybe weekly. Or it could be a webhook, which will send a JSON payload out to an endpoint, which can then be consumed to perform a number of actions, whatever you desire. So those endpoints, it could be maybe an Azure function or the equivalent in AWS, a Lambda function, or it might be a workflow system like Zapier. So what we've got here is an example of using Zapier. So first of all, let's take a look at how we configure that subscription within Octopus. Over in the Configuration tab, if we go down and look at subscriptions, this is one I've set up where it's going to take a look at user and team being modified. So this goes in and it's taking a look at any created, deleted, and modified events that occur on user role, or team. And down here is where you would configure your email notifications. But today we're using a webhook. So what this is going to do is going to send that JSON payload to this URL. Let's go and take a look at how we get that URL. So as I mentioned, we're using Zapier. This is a workflow configuration tool where you can have a number of steps that perform certain actions, and there's thousands of different configurations you can choose. This is a pretty simple one here. This is going to catch that webhook and send a message to Slack. So I've gone in and I've chosen webhook and I've said catch that webhook. And at that point, it's given us this URL of where we need to send that JSON payload to. So this is the URL that we would place back here in this payload URL field. So I ran a test when I picked this up and I amended a team within Octopus, and that sent out this test payload with all these properties that were picked up and shown here. So with that, I could then continue on through and configure the message. So Slack is a messaging tool, much like Microsoft Teams or Skype or Discord or something like that. So you would go in and we're just going to use that to send a message out. So you could say send a channel message, a direct message. There's a number of things. We're saying send channel message. And I've configured it to access our Octopus demo Slack account. And I've customized the message with the items from that JSON message that were identified in the previous step. So first of all, it's going to show the name of the subscription that we configured within Octopus. Then we're going to pick out the URL in Octopus where we can go and take a look at the order entry. Then we're going to see what that message actually was and the user that caused the event to fire. There's a number of different settings here. I'm not going to go into those in detail today. And there you go, that's done. So we switch that on, and what that's done every time that fires, that sends a message through to this Slack channel, the sample Octopus admin channel. And you can see as Derek and I have gone through and prepped for this webinar, a number of things have been fired on through. So an API key was generated, roles were changed, teams were modified. And this link takes you on through to Octopus, the audit entries. So you can see here, API key. It's worth noting, audit within Octopus is pretty comprehensive. It's a really good way of getting a good trail of everything that's gone on so that you can, record for compliance reasons and things like that, everything throughout your deployment process. Okay, so that's subscriptions.